You guys really loved my first video on aquascaping mistakes. And honestly, so many of us, myself included, make these little mistakes that can completely throw off our aquarium. So today we're gonna dive right into 7 more aquascaping mistakes that you need to avoid to make sure you have a thriving aquarium. These tips will help you create a cleaner, healthier, and a more thriving, beautiful aquarium moving forward. Let's kick it off with the wrong hardscape material. You want to be very aware where you're grabbing or getting your hardscape material from, that it's been treated the correct way, sandblasted, going through and making sure that your hardscape from a stone perspective is the right type of stone to be adding in your aquarium as well. What I truly recommend if you're a beginner is getting some type of serious stone. Some dragon stone is also great. There's 2 different types of serious stone as well. Starting out with those if you're a beginner. And then if you're getting more into the advanced area, you know I love keeping Caridina shrimp. I can't keep serious stone in my hardscapes anymore. You're grabbing the inert type of hardscape. So just the type of hardscape from a stone perspective, is it beneficial to the inhabitants that you're bringing into that aquarium as well, or the parameters that you want to keep? From a wood perspective, I love ghost wood. So just being aware when you're going out and purchasing your hardscape, the type of hardscape is definitely important. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2 is going to be overcrowding your layout. Now, what you don't want to go through and do is just pack everything into one area or pack the entire aquarium overall. You want to make sure there's enough flow in the aquarium so that you're having enough water fully circulate the entire aquarium itself. You don't want to block it. We're going to talk exactly about that for the tank right here, because I have a flow issue that I never decided to solve that's finally having hair algae bring back out. So you want to make sure you're not packing in that aquarium. You want to make sure you have no visual clutter and you're leaving negative space so they have a balanced flow. Let's move on to number 3. No layout planning before you go through and scape. I was a big, definitely contributed to this when I first started out in the aquascaping hobby, and I would just go through and throw things into my aquarium. I highly recommend if you're using a UNS tank or any type of tank that you're going to go through and purchase, most of them come with a cardboard top. Pre-plan that scape before you put anything in the aquarium. Make sure there's no visual clutter, that you're actually having nice negative spaces and areas, and you're pre-planning it before you go through and add it into the aquarium and start that aquarium up. So, well, I'll say for the advanced people out there, I know you're probably listening in. Yes, you're great at it. I love that. I'm not. I'm still a beginner. I've only been in the hobby for about 1.5 years, and I can't just go on a whim. I always have to think of how this tank's gonna lay out. I can't just purchase hardscape and make it work. So for you guys beginners, same thing. Let's just plan. Makes it a lot easier. But anyways, let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is going to be poor plant placement. So I've been a big contributor of this when I was first starting out in the aquascaping hobby, because what I would do is I'd put larger plants in the foreground, not knowing that they're going to overpower or grow that big because I was first starting out. So you want to be hyper aware of whatever plants are you're picking out when you're first starting out in the aquascaping hobby, when you're going through and scaping your tank, that you put low ground plants. So you got your foreground plants, you have your mid-ground plants, and then you have your background plants start taking over the aquarium. Okay, so you want to be hyper aware that you're not over impacting. So what happens is if you have a large plant here, it's going to bring and draw your eye directly to it, and that's going to create what's called no depth, meaning that you're going to visually go to that, draws you in, and it's not going to bring you into the back of the scape. So you want to be very aware of not going through and picking poor plant placement, and you have everything laid out in the correct way. So just remember, short to tall. Next one is going to be overusing chemicals. I've been there. Something happened in my aquarium where it just was getting continuous algae, and I was like, I'm just going to keep treating it with Excel. That's going to solve it all. That doesn't solve it. It solves it in the intermediate. It'll eliminate it. But what it doesn't do is solve the immediate problem so it comes back. You want to make sure you're addressing the root of the problem, like flow. Maybe you need to clean your filter. Maybe you're having too much light. So you want to be aware of not overusing chemicals to solve an issue. right? Those aren't going to solve what the main root of the cause of the problem is. So I typically say don't use chemicals. Maybe you're using it to like Excel to remove the algae at that point in time, and then you're fixing the issue. I had staghorn in this tank, and what solved it was just cleaning the filter. I just hadn't cleaned it in a couple of months. So again, I didn't have to treat it. I just solved the problem. So don't use chemicals to solve your problems. Next one is ignoring your light spread. So when I started, I'm laughing because I started out in the hobby and I was getting the most affordable light. I highly recommend. Spend the money. You'll be thankful for it at the end of the day. Get the right light, the right equipment when you first start out. This is my tip for you. Spend the extra money if you can, right? I'm not telling you to just go out and spend all the money you have, but if you can, don't go budget on your first aquarium because it's gonna impact you in the long run. Spend a couple extra bucks, get a better light, get a better filter, get a better tank. But anyways, light. I would get a smaller light because it was more affordable and then just stretch it end to end because it would fit. And what happens is your light spread doesn't actually encompass the entire aquarium, which is bad. Then you're not going to get hyper growth in the right areas in your aquarium itself. Also, a lot of the cheaper lights are thinner versus the Churros lights are this wide. So they have enough spread to cover the entire aquarium depth. So you want to be hyper aware of the light spread, which is tip number 6. All right, now moving on to number 7. This is going to be a completely transparent example of what happens when you have poor flow. Now, the reason why I haven't been showing this tank in a long while, it's been about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, is because I have a hair algae problem. I've debated about going through and just tearing down this aquarium, but I think this is a great example of showing you all how someone like myself, only been in the hobby a year and a half, how I can go through and fix this issue before I break it down. I am going to break it down. It's time to rescape. It's been around for a year. I'm just having terrible flow. Everything's starting to decline because of the nutrients in the substrate. So it's time for a rescape. But how do I treat the hair algae that is very stringy and thick and dense? That's the issue here. And this is mainly due to flow. So the flow of this actual filter, and I battled this quite a few times, and then it went away and then it came back. Is that the filter in the back, actually, the outlet here, goes and hits this driftwood, and then it stops the flow from actually entering in the entire aquarium. So it has a slow, steady flow, which is cool because you see the fish in the front more so often. But the issue is that you have this hair algae because you have stagnant areas of no flow. So for me to solve this, I will do a light treatment of Excel, but then I'll increase the flow by moving the inlet to the front so that it actually pushes all the way through the back. I will have a small dead zone in the outtake. So again, just being aware of neglecting, number 7 would be neglecting the flow and the circulation in your aquarium. That will increase the ability for algae to bloom in dead zones. So just being aware of flow and how important it is in your aquarium. But you'll see a video coming out soon. I'm going to start treating that next weekend. But just to show you, it's still thriving. Everything's great. The hair algae isn't actually preventing anything, and it's not overabundance, just in these 2 patch areas on this Anubis, and it's on this ricotta. But again, neglecting flow and circulation in your aquarium definitely is important. Let me know in the comments how many of you have made some of these mistakes. I personally have made every single one of these mistakes, and hopefully this helped you out. And if it did, please take this moment to comment below and let me know if this video helped you out. And also watch my latest video right here. But until next time, I'll see you all on the next tip video.